because I already played this game 4 years ago. A lot of people were like, yeah, it's the same game.
Because I already played this game 4 years ago, a lot of people were like, yeah, it's the same game.
Now, here's the deal. I'm changing the schedule this weekend, because originally it was going to be Dark Souls 3 alternating between other stuff. But here's what's happened this week. I've found that, unfortunately, the other stuff that I've been doing hasn't really caught on. I've been, first I was alternating between, I did the Battleborn beta over the weekend, and even though I enjoyed it, I had some strong criticisms of it, and I even made a video about it on KO Gaming earlier this week if you didn't see it. But it didn't catch on. People weren't really enjoying watching me play that. Excuse me. So I said, alright, well, Ratchet & Clank, the remake came out this week. I'll go ahead and do that. Nope. That has not caught on. Unfortunately, Ratchet & Clank, I streamed it yesterday, and we could barely get 300 people to attend the stream. I'd say primarily because it's really almost exactly the same game as the original game. They've just retooled some certain areas, and the plot is completely different. But outside of that, it's pretty much almost the identical game to the original Ratchet & Clank with better mechanics, better graphics, and, if you're a hardcore fan of Ratchet & Clank, maybe you want to see me play it, but I've already played Ratchet & Clank years ago. It was actually 4 years ago that I did that. So I can understand that, in that regard, there's really not tons of mainstream interest in seeing me play a game I've already played. But the Dark Souls 3 streams, in comparison, alright? In comparison, the Dark Souls 3 streams have done great. Every single Dark Souls 3 stream that I've played has been great. Ratchet & Clank, I'll be honest with you, I am not blown away by this game. Reason being, it really is almost identical to the original. When you say a game is a remake, I expect a game to actually be a remake. Like, it's not really a remake. Take a look at the original Resident Evil game. Compare that with Resident Evil Remake that came out recently, okay? Compare the original Ratchet & Clank to this remake of Ratchet & Clank. They're almost identical. There's a few things they tweaked, a few boss fights, the story is changed, but for the most part, it's the same planets, it's the same maps, it's the same gameplay. So I'm basically replaying the same game that I played 4 years ago, and that's a little disappointing. I thought that there would be way more of things redone and rebooted in that regard. So, wow, okay, here we go. Defeat Dr. Nefarious. Look at this. I think I jumped a little early.
And then us.
Oops.
Has lost it. He's gonna destroy the star.
Ratchet, you have to stop.
Well,
If that's
wow,
what
what am I supposed to do already? I died 3 times. It's not self-explanatory. Good job. I mean, it's nice that they did, they tweaked the controls a little bit to make it more manageable, but we just played Ratchet & Clank in an HD collection 4 years ago. That was when the HD collection came out for Ratchet & Clank, and a lot of people have already replayed this game, so for it to be released again for another $40 when it's the same game at its core is a little disappointing. I'll be honest, I was looking for more of something like the Resident Evil remake, where the whole game was the same premise, but all the rooms were different, the items were different, the boss fights were changed up. And that really was not the case with this game. This game was more of almost identical with only a few things switched around. Clocking in at around 10 hours is kind of like, what do you expect for a game like this that was come out in 2002? That's what I mean. Like, I was thinking when they said remake, it would be like, okay, maybe we'll have all the original stages and stuff from the original game, but then they'll double the length of the game with new worlds and new stuff, and they didn't go for that. And I'll be honest, that's a little disappointing. I actually thought that they would go for something like that, and they chose not to. Not to say it wasn't an enjoyable experience. It absolutely was. I had a lot of fun playing this game, and I want to say thank you to those of you who did follow along, even though I know it wasn't a mainstream group of people.